Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's Mubarak Ali Khan. I hope all of you are enjoying good health. Respected members, today I'm going to talk about report writing, which is a part of the curriculum of first year and second year as well as it is part of your O levels too. It is part of freshman English as well as anyone who's taking English as a functional course. And apart from this, leave the curriculum aside. You need to understand that report writing is one of the essential elements when it comes to a formal or informal thing, as well as whenever we have to write a long report or short report. There are a few things which we have to consider. I am not going into quite technical side of report writing today, but you should understand that why do we write it. You will be able to understand it after this video, that what are the key elements we have to put inside. You will come to understand the differences between different kind of reports, as well as the key elements in which which kind of headings to be put, how the content should be adjusted, which are the 4 steps of planning of report, and such things you will come to know. Without wasting any time, I'm trying to share my screen with you so that you could see it yourself, that how will it go. Bismillah Rahman Rahim. So short reports. So what is a report basically? You may ask yourself as well before reading it with me, but after that I need to definitely answer you. So a report basically enables us to keep records, to tell about failures and successes for ourselves. It can be from any person to person, it can be from any person to organization, it can be from organization to organization, it can be upward, it can be downward, it can be horizontal. There can be different ways of writing it. And to keep on knowing what we are doing basically, that what's going on. For example, in this pandemic situation, if HOD asks the teachers that what are you doing, write a report to the maybe director academic somewhere. So we have to write the report. It can be a periodic report as well. So what is periodic report? You'll get to know in the upcoming slides as well. And a report also is used to tell other people know about the developments, so other people can be encouraged and informed and learn what we did, and to help researchers to do their work. You see, in Pakistan basically research is not that strong, but if we look into the positive side of that, there are people who are working on to the researches and they're too much into that. So it helps them as well as to determine further actions used for evaluation that can be done as well. So let's move on a little. You see, suggestions for short report. There are 3 suggestions: that developing the main sections, I'll talk about that in detail. Outlining the major sections, I'll talk about this as well. Including other desirable sections. These 3 basic things, take it as the outline of this course or this lecture today, and you will be able to learn all these 3. You see, developing the main section, talking about the first one. So what it says here. It says that short reports inform and analyze. That's pretty simple. Often presented in memorandum form. So what is a memorandum form? Coming in the next slides. The 5 planning steps are all the same for all kind of writing. So you remember, no matter you're writing a memorandum, you're writing a report, you're writing a thesis, you're writing a fiction, you're writing a kind of maybe a letter or a short story or a prose or essay or anything. These 5 steps basically help you a lot in order to formulate and a kind of to develop the consensus and kind of idea that how exactly to collect the information. So these 5 steps, take a look. First of all, identify your purpose, that why are you writing this. You should understand this, to whom are you writing this. And you should know that communication is not what I want basically. Communication is what the people who are listening to me want. For example, today I could have talked about something else, I could have talked about my regular routine, but this is not people want to know from me or want to learn from me. People actually want to learn some content related to language. So I produce language content onto this page or wheresoever you're following me. So going into this, identify your purpose. Secondly, analyze your audience, that what your audience basically want. Okay. For example, now this is the need of the hour, that we are not going in the campuses, rather we are available online. So once we are available online, so there must be plenty of resources for the audience. So audience want a kind of thing like I'm making this video. This is the demand of the audience. Otherwise, Why would I have wasted my time this much? So the third one is choose your ideas. Okay, it can be a single idea, it can be multiple ideas, it can be embedded ideas, but you have to be very careful in choosing that. For example, if I'm writing a report in the exam of CIAE, then it demands from 200 to 300 words from me. I have to choose my ideas in a way that in the best possible word limit, I write it accordingly. There are 3-4 points which I have to put all of those. It is not the case that I am writing on the one point and I have completed my word limit and I keep writing and writing and writing. No, it is to be formulated in a way, it is to be developed in a way that your ideas are inculcated properly, as well as whatsoever you had to conclude, you have concluded too. A report is never complete until or unless in the end you're giving the suggestions. So in the form of points, you have to mention the suggestions as well, and you have to conclude the way you have started. It is to be concluded as well. Moving on, collect your data. Now, it can be analytical, it can be kind of argumentative, it can be, you see, what do we call that basically? Uh, you see, it can be in different ways. So it is not that you are collecting the data always in the same pattern. If it is kind of like analytical, so you have something and you're giving your own idea onto that, or maybe you're developing an argument onto that. Okay, so this is what we have to see as well. And then organize your message. This is the demand. You see, whenever you're writing in a federal board, you're writing in CIAE, you're writing for your instructor in your classes, so they demand this. It should not be the case that suggestion is on the top and then you write an introduction in the middle somewhere and it's so haphazard. No, since it is formal, no matter it is short or long, so it has to be in an organized way. The message should be organized. So how to do this, these all, I'm into it. I'll talk about that. So main sections. Number one is introduction. It is already known whichsoever writing you are doing. First of all, you introduce at what you're talking about. So purpose, sources, scope, definitions, background, limits, and list of topics. Okay, a short introduction, usually without the title introduction, is given somehow. For example, you write first 2-3 lines. For example, you're saying, I'm writing this report with the reference letter number 114B, and I am basically, let's say, whosoever I am, my designation, and then I keep talking about that in the body discussion. Okay, present all accurate facts, statistics included into that. Any kind of facts and figures you have to include, you include that in your report. And emphasize important ideas. That what are the important ideas which audience should know from the audience perspective. For example, my audience can be HOD, my audience can be my student, my audience can be anyone. So I'll wear the shoe of the proposed person, and then I'll talk accordingly. It's not that I write whatsoever I want to write, and you do not get detrack into that. It is not a fiction. It is a truthful kind of connected in a truthful way. It is not that you write whatsoever you want to write. Okay, moving on with this. It emphasizes important ideas, whichever idea is demanded. For example, if your audience want to know about the that how injurious tobacco is, so you cannot talk about maybe wine or something other. So they're interested to only talk about tobacco. Maybe the wine is more unhealthier than tobacco, but you are not supposed to talk about wine or something else. You're supposed to stick to the same content which what you were asked. Include visual aids if you could. Okay, you can put the visual aids if you can. For example, you see, when it comes to the that how injurious tobacco is, onto the pack of the cigarette you find a person with a kind of cancer, maybe mouth cancer or some other cancers. So this is the aid, and that adds into the fire. And But still people are smoking. I don't know why aren't they afraid of death, of such kind of bad and cruel death. Anyhow, so use headings in the report. You're supposed to use headings in a proper way, so that whosoever is following you is following through a proper track. For example, if he just want to read your suggestions, so he does not have to hunt for your suggestion, that where did you put suggestions. Instead, he will just straightly go to the heading and will find suggestion, and will find suggestions over there, and will come and will understand, and will take the idea from your report whatsoever you had to transfer. and use top-down method for paragraphs. So it is important, for example, like talk about the important content first, because if you are starting with a vague or general kind of notion, then the people don't have much time to keep reading your reports, and we people are not so eager to read it. Okay, so if it's a complaint, so start somewhere with the introduction and then start with the real content which you have to put into. And then terminal section, your summary, your conclusions, and your recommendation. This is the overall layout of a report. This is how a report is made. If you're talking about that, how to write a subject, if you're talking about how to write introduction, sir, shall I write my name, sir, do I have to sign, sir, do I have a complimentary closing into that, or sir, where are the commas and where are the colons and where are the full stops and where are the underlining and where capitalization, everything will be given to you after this, not in the same video. Moving on, outlining the major section. So topic headings, first of all, history or background, etc. Complete sentence headings. So you completely tell that what I'm going to talk about. You're not creating suspense into this. It is not a kind of Imran series or some kind of novels in which people are thrilled to read suspense. No, it is not the case. It is to be as simple as possible, as understandable as possible, as short as possible, and as effective as possible. Imperative sentence headings, right? You completely, you write it in an imperative way. For example, you may ask question into that. And then variant headings, for example, can be preparing before presenting. It's simple. Moving on, then you see that there are 4 degrees, and I'll be giving an example as well, and you can correctly understand with the font size of as well. Font size of it, for example, first degree, a capital way, second degree, a little smaller than that, third degree, and fourth degree. I'll be giving a simple idea. You see, these are formats of outlines. For example, numerals and letters, that how to be put. For example, let's say we're talking about a pen. So it's a first degree, like a general thing. Then we'll be talking about that which brand is this? Is it a Picasso? It's a piano? Is it a dollar? So it's a Picasso. Okay, this is my second degree. The third one is is it a ball pen or an ink pen? So it's an ink pen. Okay, so going over there. And the fourth degree is, so if it is a ball pen or if it is an ink pen, so is it blue or black? So it's blue. So this is how we are completing, and we are making it systematic from general to specific and yet the most specific. I'm giving the basic example so that you understand. So talk about in a very, in an order of coherence, as well as you are basically making a kind of important on the top, and then you are filtering it down to the narrow thing. You see, like a threshold, like a kind of filtering thing from the general to specific. You're coming down here. Okay, moving on then. A parallelism in headings. So how can we make it, how can we make a parallelism into that all headings of the same degree within any part of an outline should be parallel to one another, like they should follow each other's content. It is not that out of nowhere you're introducing something. As you remember, I said it is not that we are creating so interest of the reader into that. Actually, we are being truthful into that, and we are portraying the facts and figures into that. Include other desirable sections. This is the point which I mentioned already. So many short reports are in memorandum format. The most used format is internal business communication. It is the most used format in internal business communication. They are originally part of a long report. However, it's a good idea that you put a subject line, you put prefatory section, you put visual aids, and you put transmittal letter or memo. Now, normally students ask that how to write a subject. So exactly, a subject is to be underlined. A subject contains almost 7 to 8 words. A subject, the initial part of the subject, including your noun, your pronouns, your adverbs, your adjectives, and yeah, these main content words, the initial letter will be capital. Otherwise, the prepositions and conjunctions will be as simple, like in a lowercase, and it is followed by a full stop. So this is how we write a subject, and subject has to be catchy. Okay, moving on a little more. So kinds of reports we have. If I talk about memorandum reports, so it has informational, conference reports, progress reports, and periodic reports. I'll talk about those in detail. Analytical, it has an analytical personal report. For example, analysis of online and on-campus classes. You guys have been taking classes on campus as well as you had been taking classes online. So now you can do your analysis. So you can write it, for example, if your teacher asks for this. And then letter reports can be informational and it can be analytical as well. Letter reports, informational or analytical. So conference report. And any employee or executive may be required to write a report after a conference with any individual or committee. For example, personal sales calls, minutes of the meeting attended by many people. The purpose is to record all decisions and discussion. This is your conference report. For example, I have taken a meeting with the rector, and there were all the HODs, all the directors, all the kind of coordinators, and all the faculty. So now, being a language teacher, my HOD asked me to write a report so that those of us who missed the points and those of us who couldn't take part into the meeting, so they'll be able to understand as well. Moving on to progress report. Now this progress report, students well understand in their schools and colleges, such kind of thing happened as well. So let's take that example. For example, your progress test, maybe your midterm, then your second progress, then can be your send-ups, and then exactly the final term which you had, maybe on campus or maybe with the Cambridge or with any board. So this is progress report. Moving on, as implied by the name, it shows progress, accomplishments or activity over time, or at a given stage of a major assignment, and it is periodic. It goes in, kind of period. For example, quarterly, can be term wise, so depends. The organizational plan is as follows. Maybe first of all you put introduction, description of accomplishments during reporting period. For example, in 2018 this student performed well. In 2019 the student could not perform well. In 2020 he has regained the lost identity which he had as a good student. So it's in a periodic way. Unanticipated problems, if any. For example, you anticipated that the student will be, maybe he'll be becoming disruptive, or maybe he will be committing some discipline issues. But now what he has done, there is a great fight with the fist and punch and somersaulting everywhere. So this was somewhere unanticipated, जो आप सोच नहीं रहे होते, आपने expect नहीं किया होता और वो हो जाता. Plans for the next reporting period, that for example we will rewrite to you maybe in 2021, and we'll let you know that how exactly it happened. It can be after 1 month, can be after 2 months, depending if it's just 1 month case. So it can be over every week as well. So that depends as well. Moving on, then summary, overall appraisal of progress to date. Okay, so that can be from the back to the still to the present. This progress report is normally into your maybe in school colleges. It can be, for example, if I have a head office and I have some sub offices, so sub offices are writing reports to head office to me. So I am understanding the concept that what is going on in which kind of outlet of mine, and then I act accordingly. So such kind of things. More neutral you are, more good report writer you become, by the way. So I need to move on then. Periodic reports. They are as many as organizations, right? So how? So learning what they do is more important than what they are called. Okay. Period is dependent upon the department and the assignment. For example, it can be yearly, it can be monthly, it can be bi-monthly, it can be weekly, it can be bi-weekly, it can be daily. Okay, for example, Unilever is a brand, and Unilever is selling, let's say, 1 crore sale, 1 crore rupees sale every day. So whosoever distributor is trying to conclude the overall day is writing a report to the head office, or maybe they are doing it bi-weekly or maybe weekly. So that depends. This is how we have periodic reports. And then we have analytical memorandum reports. A pure analytical report has one central purpose. Analytical report, to analyze the situation or issue, data and evidence. A good example is analytical personal report. For example, Ahmed, Rahim, and Nabila to be analyzed for potential replacement to new office. So this is analytical personal report. So first of all, introduction, a paragraph about the purpose and sources. Maybe into the body, a probable permanency education and skills, personal qualifications. So in a body writing, that what exactly do we see? We feel that in education they are good, and personal qualifications they are fine, and such kind of things they have been doing, and then the conclusion onto that. This is what we call analytical memorandum. Maybe it can be in the case of university teaching as well, where the department asks from the students about the teachers, that how they had been doing throughout the term, maybe throughout their semester. So if they're writing a report, that is analytical memorandum, a personal report which you're writing. And on the basis of that, people kind of the higher authorities come to understand the level of the teacher too. So recommendation or justification reports, it is another kind of that. I know it's getting a little longer. Let's have 4 to 5 more minutes, and then it will be done, inshallah. Justify a recommendation. Okay, can be any recommendation justification report. Parts of such a report is current state of the problem, effects and causes of the problem, possible options to remove the problem, criteria in evaluating a solution, recommended solution if desired by the reader, can be any. So you write according to this. For example, if I want my student to recommend somewhere into, let's say, any job, so I'll write a report about that, how exactly the student had been performing in front of me, and what exactly he can do, and what I look into him or her while I look into the profile. So I recommend in that way, and I justify it in a very proper way. So I guess that's what I had to say to all of you. Thank you so very much. If you guys have any kind of questioning, if you feel like any of the content is missing, or if you want to add something into that, you may leave your questions into the comment box, or maybe once you are with me onto any other platform, maybe on campus, online, anywhere. So I'm there as well to help you too. And if there is any specific thing you want to learn from me, so you should comment that as well, so that I could make a video on that too. And I'll be seeing you, inshallah, with a good another exciting video. I know learning is boring somewhere, but I hope that you guys were able to understand something well. Thank you so very much for patient hearing. Thank you. Bye bye.